Sweet. I think so, anyway. It's been kind of a lazy Monday today. Kind of felt like napping most of the time, but I'm definitely awake for now. I'll be awake for the stream. Okay. Yeah, so like I mentioned a little bit ago, as in probably like last stream, there was something Toho related that I really wanted to do. And now we're gonna do the thing. And anybody who's seen the stream announcements now knows exactly what it is. I have taken a multitude of characters from my most beloved, most favoritist series of anything ever Toho project. I have taken several girls and I'm thrusting them into the Hunger Games simulator. Let's see. I'm wondering if I should go over everything now, or like if I should already transition to the like, because I already have the simulator up, but you know. I guess the most I'll say is that introductions and such are probably gonna take up the bulk of the stream, because I wanna at least like cover all the bases as far as you know, anybody who's not familiar with Toho or even really with Hunger Games. Honestly, I don't even know that much about the Hunger Games myself, other than like just the way the games work, like rules-wise and like what happens inside them. I haven't actually read the books. I've seen the first 2 movie adaptations, but not the others. Like, so I have like a pretty clear basic understanding for how the Hunger Games works. And of course I know a lot more, considerably more, about Toho Project. So most of the details are going to come on that front. I guess the most I can say to anyone who is not familiar, Hunger Games is basically a free-for-all battle royale situation. Normally you have 12 districts, but essentially like you have groups with 2 people per district, to a total of 24 contestants, or as they're called, tributes. And basically, yeah, it's a free-for-all battle royale to the death. Basically, the main aim of the game, live. Live to be the last one standing. There are a myriad of other things too, such as like arena events that affect every contestant. Otherwise, there's not really a time limit, I don't believe, on, you know, the number of days that the games can take place. There's going to be obviously a lot of bloodshed, but also there's going to be like some interpersonal intrigue, as far as the tributes deciding to like forge alliances, whether they go for the killing blow or if they choose to spare people. They also have to keep track of things like food, water, shelter. They have to be mindful of like poisonous vegetation, safe locations, securing their supplies against other tributes. A lot goes into like the little details of the games, of how each contestant behaves and what decisions they make in order to survive to the end. That's about all you really need to know about the Hunger Games. It's pretty straightforward. You can catch on pretty quickly, like just watching it. Anyway, I think I will carry over now. Whoops. Not that one. Oh dear, my face is in the way. Oh well. I'll scroll down as appropriate. Okay. I will note that in this simulator, which is, you know, its own little website, it's hosted on a browser, there is the option to expand the roster up to a total of 48 contestants, or, you know, four tributes per district. Unfortunately, Toho Project, even in the mainline games, has way more characters than that. So I opted basically just to do a part 1 and part 2. Or season 1 and season 2, I guess you could say. So starting off, I believe, season 1, which we're gonna be doing tonight. Season 1 deals with every character from Toho 6 to Toho 12. And by the way, I'm not going to be including any of the spin-off games, whether that be like, you know, Hatade from Double Spoiler, or any of the fighting games. You know, so characters such as Suika, the Yorigami sisters, Kokoro, they're not going to be in here. That will be for another day. I will confirm, though, that Iku and Tenshi will be in the next season. So look forward to that if you're a fan of them. Otherwise, yeah, it's just going to be mainline games only. No side games, no supplementary materials, so none of the literary characters are going to appear. It's just 6 to 12. 6 to 12, and that's how it's going to stay. And additionally, there aren't going to be any strictly mid-boss characters. You know, so like Daiusei, Kuokuma, well actually I shouldn't say. I guess I'll say no mid-boss characters that aren't like substantial, like really characters of their own. I don't know how to phrase it. So like basically, you know, most of the mid-bosses are not going to be included, but I think like there's like one or maybe two that is included, just because like they're substantial to the games like they represent. So basically, like no Kokuma, no Momiji, no Lily White, and such, yeah. And by the way, another detail mainly involving Hunger Games, just because certain characters are part of the same district, that doesn't mean that they are obligated to work together. You know, they just come from the same place. That doesn't mean they're teammates necessarily. You know, whether it could be right off the bat or towards the end of the games. betrayal is very much a factor that will be in play. So keep that in mind. Okay. With everything rules-wise out of the way, I guess I will say, whoever comes out of the championship in Season 1, they won't go over into Season 2, but I will be keeping them in the back of my pocket. Hello, Jay! Hello, hello! I got your Froggy right here. You can get a top row seat. I'm gonna flip you around. Top row seat. Games haven't started just yet. For you see, I wanted to take the time, for those who are not intimately familiar with Touhou, to just kind of do a run-through of all our contestants tonight. As I said, there are 48 of them, and there are even more Touhou characters than that, even in the mainline games, so I'm splitting the games between Season 1 and Season 2. I don't know when I'll do Season 2, but everything is pretty much already set up, so you know, after tonight, I could pretty much do Season 2 whenever I wanted to. But no matter. We kind of went through the basic rules of the Hunger Games. There's not a whole lot that you can't intuitively get about the games. It's a free-for-all battle royale, and everybody is competing to live to the very end. It's about all you need to know. Fight for survival. To be the last one living. And as I was just mentioning, just because contestants might be in the same district, that doesn't mean that they're necessarily allies. They just come from the same place, quote unquote, you know, same district of origin. Betrayal, it could very well happen. But yeah, anyway. This is the first stage of what the Hunger Games refers to as the reaping. It basically just means the collecting of contestants from each district. There are 12 districts, and I have set it to 4 tributes per district, whereas normally it's just 2. Even then, there's so many girls. Anyhow, I think it's about that time, Lily Pals, where I believe the bulk of this stream is going to be talking about our contestants, but hopefully it'll be split half and half. Kind of going over the basic backgrounds of each of our tributes, just to get an idea of what they're all about and how well they might fare in these games. And of course, just to, you know, give like a Spark Notes version of the characters for those who are not intimately familiar with Touhou. Okay, I think that's about the 3rd time I've spelled that out, so I'm just gonna start. So, first off, District 1. Our first tribute is none other than the Shrine Maiden of Paradise, Reimu Hakare. Right here. Hang on. I'm gonna... Okay, well it says capture cursor. I don't know if it's actually capturing it. Maybe I have to be on the window to actually do it. That also means I'll have to swap windows between chat. I can't look at both at the same time unless I pull up my phone. And my phone is inconsistent with like what it wants to show on screen before it fades to black. Anyway, as I was saying, Reimu Hakare, number 1 of District 1. Shrine Maiden of Paradise. She is an extraordinary young lady, regarded often as the protagonist of the entire Touhou project. Her daily goings-on includes yokai extermination and the maintaining of order and harmony in the realm of Gensokyo. She, of course, lives at the Hakare Shrine, maintaining the Hakare barrier that separates Gensokyo from our own world. Her skills. Well, for starters, she is regarded as having incredibly sharp intuition, as well as just having an absolutely insane good luck streak, most oftentimes. She doesn't train a lot, but due to her abilities, she doesn't really have to. She's actually quite dangerous under the right circumstances. Her abilities include being able to float, as well as controlling powerful yin-yang orbs. Being able to use fantasy seals, sealing techniques, and like divine border creation powers to be able to subdue her opponents. She is not to be trifled with. If you're a yokai in particular, you should be scared of Reimu. You never know what might set her off. She's kind of a difficult person to read overall as well. So a little bit of a wild card right off the bat. What might be more consistent as far as characteristics go is her best friend and colleague slash technically business rival, Marisa Kirisame, just an ordinary magician, human magician. In contrast to Reimu, she is quite a hard worker, although she doesn't show it. She is known to have a charismatic flair of sass and has a witty line or two, most oftentimes. She has quite a powerful array of spell cards at her disposal. She's speedy. Her most notorious spell card of her arsenal is is known as her Master Spark. Has a wide range of offensive power. And among other things, she is also known as kind of a notorious thief. So all contestants better keep track of their belongings when Marisa is close by. You never know when she might take the opportunity to slip out from under your nose with something that is quite crucial to your survival.
Also, hello, Stellar. Hello, wifey.
I will give you Nope, not like that. You will also get a top row seat to the Gensokyo games. Okay. Right, so that's Marisa Kirisame. She is also known as being quite crafty as far as, observational skills, and being able, kind of having a knack for being able to repurpose her opponent's techniques against them with her own sort of flair. So, similarly to Reimu, although for different reasons, Marisa is, again, like quite a character, at least on the offensive line, as well as the, I guess, like, utility? Marisa could prove a powerful asset And I know what else is a powerful asset of hers. Nyuk, nyuk, nyuk. Fighting games reference. If you know, you know. But next up, in District 1, we have our first yokai in the one and only yokai of darkness, Rumia. Rumia, by contrast to Marissa, is not considered all that intelligent. With powers over darkness, she constantly shields herself from bright sources of light to the degree where even just full moonlight is considered too bright for her. And so, direction-wise, she seems to be pretty hopeless, you know, in regards to navigation. However, she does have a voracious appetite, especially for humans. So any other human contestants might want to watch your back. Because similarly, while she can't really see where she's going, as soon as night falls, it's like you're in her territory. You know, you'll have to sleep with one eye open. There's also been rumors as far as the ribbon being a seal that seems to kind of banish some other inherent powers. These are just rumors. None of them have so far been substantiated as far as her true danger levels. Basically, she seems to be a pretty simplistic yokai to sort of work around. Just carry flashlights with you. Keep the campfire up and roaring. That's about all you would need. And behind my face, a rather popular figure outside of the arena, we have our first fairy. Get her name in there. Chirno. Chirno the Ice Fairy. Again, a rather popular character amongst the audience. What Chirno really has going for her is her indomitable, childlike spirit. In truth, if we're being realistic, Chirno doesn't have a whole lot going for them, aside from ice powers, which, depending on the situation, could prove handy. There's no chance that she would die, like from hypothermia or something, you know, or falling into a frozen lake and drowning. She's probably the one causing those deaths at the end of the day. Otherwise, Chirno, cheerful as she is rather infamous for not exactly having the brightest bulb in the room. She might claim she does, but you know, you can't expect too much from an ice fairy. Fairies are rather simple by nature as far as Toho is concerned. However, I will say, when I did a test run for the Season 1 lineup, Chirno did end up being the champion. So who knows? She could very well sneak up on us. She could very well serve as a valuable underdog figure for District 1. I wouldn't get my hopes up, though. She is an ice fairy, but she has the blazing fire of youth. However, that covers pretty much all our tributes from District 1. Moving on to District 2. Starting off with dogs barking in the background. But no. Hello, Raiders! Hello, Bambi Bun RNG. Hello. You are in for quite a treat. I was going over all the contestants for a Hunger Games simulation we're doing right now. Sit tight, for there's about to be quite a show. Your Thyler Lives is rebranded for ease of searching. Bambi Bunny Boy Raid. Welcome, welcome. Yep, the raid worked. No worries. And quite a fun fact, folks. The soundbite for the raid that I use in my streams, rumored to come from none other than one of our contestants in District 2. We'll get to them in due time. Anyway, starting off with District 2, we have Hong Mei Ling, the honorary gatekeeper of the Scarlet Devil Mansion. While not too... She's known to not be as quite adept with long-range fighting, and so, you know, bullet duels, Danmaku duels, as they're called, she tends to come up a little bit short. However, she makes up in spades in close-range combat. She is indeed a martial arts master, and being a yokai, she has extraordinary superhuman strength, as well as perhaps a few other abilities up her sleeve, such as the manipulation of chi. Indeed. Whatever that could mean for her opponents, well, we've yet to see. Perhaps we'll get lucky and see a demonstration firsthand. However, on the opposite side of the spectrum, similarly from the Scarlet Devil Mansion, we have the resident witch of Patchouli knowledge. While Patchouli physically is rather frail and in quite sickly condition, having both anemia and asthma, Patchouli is incredibly intelligent, very well read, and as a yokai magician she is... I don't quite know how to phrase it, but she has a plethora of spells and magics up her sleeve. And so, with a myriad primarily of element-based spells, she's quite adept at several different varieties of magic, usually for offense, but could also be used for utility. She has access to water spells, fire spells, and even more esoteric lunar and solar spells if she's feeling saucy. However, in regards to the harsh, physically demanding Hunger Games, it's quite curious to see how she'll fare as far as hard survival goes. And of course, one swift stab in the back could probably spell her doom. And speaking of stabbing, also hailing from District 2, none other than the elegant Scarlet Devil Mansion maid herself, Sakuya Izuyoi. Hello, RNG. I'll get you your Froggy. Sadly, my partners have VIP seats up in the top rung, so you'll have to watch the games from the regular seating. But it seems like there's no real competition for a good seat, so you know, you get first picks. Anyway, as I was saying, happy just to be from District 1. Anyway, our Miss Sakuya Izuyoi. Now, one thing that makes her quite proficient at being the head or chief maid of the enormous Scarlet Devil Mansion is not just her proficiency with tidiness and neatly cleaning things up, preparing meals and whatnot, but a large portion of what makes her work life that much easier is the mysterious ability to manipulate the flow of time. Indeed, she carries a pocket watch that allows her, well, perhaps it's just ornamental, but nevertheless, manipulates the flow of time to slow it down to less than a snail's crawl, to being imperceptibly slow, as if time itself just freezes all around. And of course, to anyone just observing, it would happen in only the blink of an eye. And so offensively, Sakuya seems to have quite an edge in the game. Not only with her attitude and her abilities, but also in the fact she also happens to be quite an adept knife-throwing combatant. It's the best way I could describe it. Since time slows down, does that mean she also gets blind? Well, maybe. She does seem to have a clear idea of at least where to throw the knives once time is halted. However, it often does end up kind of being a spray motion, you know, throwing in clusters. Rather imprecise, yeah, because you're slowing down light as well. If time is halted, there's no light to see. Yes, yes. We don't know the specific mechanics of it, and she doesn't seem interested in interviews, so we'll have to speculate on our end. But then, what would the Scarlet Devil Mansion be without its very own mistress? One Remilia Scarlet. Remilia, as I mentioned, is the mistress of the Scarlet Mansion. She is a vampire, and don't let her looks deceive you. She is no child. Though short in stature, she is great in power. However, she knows when to hold back. To a fair degree, she tends to play off her noble airs. Tends to boast having a noble lineage, apparently rumored to be from one Count Dracula himself. However, these are merely just rumors. Many rumors. Many rumors. Remilia, being a vampire, of course, has the typical superhuman strengths that yokai tend to possess, as well as a few blood magics. However, what makes her rather unique compared to other vampires you might encounter in your day-to-day lives, or should I say night-to-night lives, Remilia Scarlet has the mysterious, not well understood ability of the manipulation of fate. Not much is known about this power, whether it's conscious, unconscious, what it even has the capacity to do, as well as any limitations on its front. It makes Remilia... Remilia, even without said powers, is quite a nefarious, quite a dangerous deal. However, it just makes her seemingly all that much more of a threat. All that much more of a foreboding presence within the arena. And of course, being a vampire, she does come with certain typical vampire weaknesses, such as an aversion to sunlight, and so during the day, should be good. I think most of our contestants should be safe from Remilia, assuming she doesn't have an umbrella on hand. Otherwise, she is a mistress of the night, and not in that way. Don't even. Once again, I have to say, like, since I'm doing this all from its own window, I have to switch back and forth to see chat. Anyway. Grabs a kitchen drawer when time stops and just chucks it. Yep. A 10-million-year-old lolly. Not quite that old, but at least 500. Don't encounter vampires. I'm a guy, all vampires are lesbians. I would be inclined to I would be inclined to agree. No, I am not an unbiased source. Vampire who can't deal with light, and Time Stopper who stops light. It's a perfect combo. Well, just a reminder, just because people hail from the same district, that doesn't mean they have full incentive to work together. But anyway, I think I've just about covered Remilia Scarlet. Oh, and before I forget, Sakuya Izuyoi is in fact a human, and so she's just as much a target for yokai as any other human being. Even though she comes with quite a deadly ability. And I will also mention, like I said, my raid soundbite comes from is rumored to have come from Miss Izuyoi herself as well, announcing her spell card known as the World. Take that how you will. Anyway, that's announcing the majority of the Scarlet Devil Mansion residents coming from District 2. However, there's one straggler that had to be moved to District 3 for the sake of fairness. So District 3. Starting with Remilia's own younger sister, Flander Scarlet. Flander, similarly to Remilia, is a vampire, and so comes with all of the same weaknesses. Estimated to be about 5 years younger than Remilia, at approximately... We don't know her precise age, but we do know that she has a history of reclusiveness. Later on we found out this was entirely voluntary, but it seems as though Flander has a history of kind of being detached from people, in no small part due to living in the Scarlet Devil Mansion's basement for exactly 495 years. She recently saw a resurgence in popularity due to appearing in an incident regarding oil geysers spilling up into the surface of Gensokyo, and her having to help resolve the problem. And the reason she had to resolve the problem instead of perhaps Reimu or Marissa is because she has a very particular ability unique to her own, similar to Remilia's manipulation of fate. For Flander is an even more deadly contestant, for she has the sole ability to destroy absolutely anything and everything. All she has to do is lock onto her target, locate its quote-unquote eye, squeeze the eye in her palm, and it goes kaboom. It is utterly obliterated from this plane of existence. teammates tell everyone else is dead, then rock, paper, scissors for who lives and dies. Well, that would be the ideal. However, we have 48 total contestants, and the audience demands blood. And only one. The rules dictate only one is allowed to become the champion. But anyway, Flanders Scarlet, the most destructive force and likely one of the most dangerous contestants in our roster today. Once again, probably don't have to worry about her in the daylight, but you never know. Moving on, we have less of a direct threat, but more a contestant that can bring quite a hazard to a survival-based battle arena situation like this. We have Letty Whiterock, a Yuki-onna, or a Snow Maiden yokai, with the ability to bring about and manipulate snow, cold weather, blizzards. And so, similarly to Chierno, the Ice Fairy of District 1, Letty Whiterock is arguably even stronger, and very likely may not cause direct murders to occur. However, she carries with her an intensive environmental hazard. So, hopefully our contestants know how to pack on the layers when she's nearby. Other than that, there's not really a whole lot more known about her. She's rather elusive in the sheer white walls of snow in the blizzard she brings. So, everyone, just be wary. If it starts to snow, you have reason to be suspicious. But moving on, another yokai, our first beast yokai, in Chen, a, what are they called? Nekomata, or just two-tailed cat. She's quite a wily little one. She's pretty slippery and also known to possess certain lower tier dark magics, but apparently she is under the tutelage of a more powerful yokai, and so perhaps she has come up with some more clever schemes to bring into the games. Other than that, she is a cat, and so if anybody happens to acquire catnip from an unknown sponsor, you get an edge on Chen. Otherwise, even for a yokai, she's kind of on the weaker side. Not all that powerful, but, being a cat, she is very likely incredibly stealthy, slippery, and very crafty. So, keep an eye out. And then, moving on to the last contestant of District 3, we have one Alice Margatroyd, another magician. Alice specializes primarily in a type of magic that allows her to control and manipulate a plethora of dolls that she uses to fight. And so she's quite adept at keeping her distance whenever she is thrust into combat. The most I can say of her techniques is that she is known to never, ever fight at her full strength. Because, it's kind of for obvious reasons for those with better intuition. Because think about it. If you fight at your full strength and you lose, what else do you have? So perhaps Alice may have incentive to be able to really let loose, because in these games, it really is life or death. And unlike Marissa, and akin more to Patchouli, she is a yokai magician, and so she likely has a wider range of other magics in her arsenal. There are rumors that she holds something known as a 7-colored grimoire, and what exactly that entails is anybody's guess. Just be on the lookout. Anybody who is more proficient in close combat will probably have an edge on Alice if they can manage to get past her dolls. Something to think about. Moving on to District 4. In District 4, we have our first collective. I think our first and only collective. We have the Prism River sisters, Lyrica, Merlin, and Lunasa, who I believe that is youngest to oldest, respectively. They are poltergeists that are quite proficient in playing and performing music. Lyrica you have on the keyboard, Merlin has the trumpet, and Lunasa has a violin, or viola? I'm not sure which. They can really... They're not offensively or utility-wise all that remarkable. However, they do have a knack for being able to influence the morale of people around them. You know, whether it's Merlin's trumpet being able to bolster the morale of allies, Lunasa being able to chip away at the spirits of enemies, and Lyrica, I don't remember what her deal is. Nonetheless, you know, if you have to go after the Prism Rivers, you have to beat all of them at once. They refused to participate unless they all worked together as a single band. So keep an eye out for some epic, like, battle music playing in the background from seemingly a mysterious source. But in a similar vein as poltergeists and spirits, moving on, the next contestant, we have one Yomu Konpaku, a half-human, half-phantom gardener of the one and only Netherworld. At least the one that's connected directly to GENSOKYO. However, she is no ordinary gardener. She possesses 2 ghost blades that she boasts that the number of how did she say it? I don't remember, but basically her dual blades, okay, they're not dual katanas, only one is a katana, the other, I forget what it's called. Pardon me for the bumbling of my speech. But anyway, Yomu is a highly adept swordswoman, and the yokai blades she possesses are known to strike incredibly swiftly, to degrees that the human eyes may not be able to perceive, as well as being able to slice through virtually any material until further notice. Yomu is otherwise intellectually kind of lacking. She is known to be rather gullible. However, she is also no slouch when it comes to her duties, serving under her ghostly mistress, which also happens to be our next contestant in District 4, the one Miss Yuyuko Saikyoji. Yuyuko is the mistress of the Netherworld connected to GENSOKYO, and she may be one of the much more dangerous and perhaps even overpowered tributes in our lineup, if not for the fact that she has such a calm, seemingly benevolent demeanor. For Yuyuko possesses a quite in this context, broken ability to manipulate death and basically cause death to, well, all she would need to do is just think about it and you're dead. But thankfully, that doesn't seem to be her style. She doesn't tend to really prefer, outright aggressive tactics such like that. And so, with the agreement that, no matter what, she would be able to rein in her abilities, she was allowed to compete. Nevertheless, she is very well capable of, channeling spirits to come to her aid and fight alongside her. Ghosts of various types. And so one has to think, perhaps there's a good reason not to go all murder happy on other contestants, because the more spirits are out on the battlefield, the more Yuyuko might gain an advantage. And of course, being a ghost, technically she's already dead, but she has also agreed to play along, at least. She won't do any, respawning nonsense, or, phasing through weaponry, any sort of bullshit like that. She does seem to be very playful, very enjoying of, the simpler customs of the living, which we much appreciate. Finally, in our District 4, gosh, we're not even halfway yet. Nevertheless, to top out District 4, we have Ran Yakumo. Another beast yokai, quite a popular one at that, primarily in the distinction that she is in fact a, what are they called? I will say specifically, she is a kitsune. I think it's a... Never mind. She is a nine-tailed fox yokai. Although technically, that's really only her body. For you see, Ran is not actually the fox yokai herself, but is in fact a shikigami that is possessing the body of the nine-tailed fox and works in subservience to a higher up. However, Ran is capable enough, strong enough, to be able to command a shikigami of her own, and said shikigami happens to be Chen of District 3. However, such a relationship seems to mean very little in these GENSOKYO games. As far as specific abilities goes, I don't immediately recall any unique abilities. However, Ran Yakumo is extremely intelligent, as much as I think 9 supercomputers. That's kind of the function of the Shikigami, being highly calculating, and being quite a devious strategist. If you have to have anyone who has to serve as the brains of a temporary alliance, Ran Yakumo is probably your best bet. And along with having other miscellaneous abilities of a nine-tailed fox yokai, she is likely no pushover either. Only some of the strongest yokai might have a chance to really be able to square up against her. But speaking of incredibly powerful yokai, as we move on to District 5, starting off with Yukari Yakumo, who happens to also be Ran's superior. Ran's master, you could even say. And so imagine, if you will, the strength that comes with being a kitsune, a fox yokai, with all 9 tails, essentially at their peak, and still somehow fall short to another yokai. Yukari is that yokai. For you see, Yukari is not just any other residing yokai in the realm of Gensokyo. No, she is one of Gensokyo's great sages, and is responsible for not just maintaining, but also was responsible for the creation of Gensokyo as a safe haven, a sanctuary for all remaining yokai in a world that was vastly starting to evolve past their past any use, I guess for lack of a better term, any use for yokai in the modern day. And so Yukari, what makes Yukari especially dangerous is her unique ability with the manipulation of borders and gaps. And at first glance you might think, well, what the heck, like, what's that, what does that mean? Like, how's that even dangerous? Like, what, just like borders on a map or something? You know, like borders of territories? Oh, no, dear audience. Yukari's manipulation of gaps. Allow me to illuminate a little bit on the potential of Yukari's abilities. For you see, if you think of any possible concepts that seem to have, you know, a distinct dichotomy, you know, A or B. You know, A is one way and then B is the opposite way. So, say, you could look at these dichotomies, and if you put them on, like, you know, one end or the other, you could distinctly imagine that there's a gap between the two, directly in the center. And so, if it comes to the gaps and boundaries between such pairs as yin and yang, life and death, high and low, earth and sky, human and yokai, fantasy and reality. There are countless of these dichotomies, and thus countless of these gaps. And Yukari has complete control over all of them. For a time, she was actually regarded as perhaps the most powerful resident of Gensokyo, which is saying quite a lot. Not only that, but similarly to Ron, she is also incredibly intelligent. You know, very well fits a sort of mastermind role that works behind the scenes. And so she knows how to play the long game. If anybody has a chance of making it to the final stretch of the games, Yukari is a likely contender. Aside from that, about her only weakness is that she is incredibly lethargic, frequently sleeping, frequently hibernating, rather. Although she does have, you know, the edge of being able to at least, you know, portal her way over to a safe location before she goes to sleep. However, you know, she agreed to not resort to such measures for the sake of the games. So Yukari Yakumo, Sage of Gensokyo, Yokai of the Gaps, beware. Moving on, we have another beast yokai in Wriggle Nightbug. Wriggle Nightbug is, at first glance, quite a, not quite the strongest you could expect from yokai, for Wriggle is in fact a firefly yokai. And fireflies, you know, like a lot of bugs, are small. They tend to be on the weaker side compared to much stronger life forms, much bigger life forms, more like. And you know, she could probably light up her butt. So, you know, an effective way of illuminating the night, if need be. So there's that. However, one thing that could make Wriggle quite a surprisingly difficult contestant is the fact that she bears the ability to control insects. I don't know about you folks, but I wager there's going to be several species of insects alone within the arena. And all of them are absolutely numerous in number. And so, Wriggle, along with a rumored powerful kick, rumored to have an extremely powerful surprise ambush high kick, also with the manipulation of insects. She will never fight alone. Wherever Wriggle is, you can bet that there are hundreds, thousands, perhaps millions of insects all around her that all have their own capacities and skills to do harm. She is quite a spotlight amongst the bug world. However, bugs can still serve as prey. Prey for one such species, perhaps as a night sparrow. In our third contestant from District 5, we have Mistia Lorelei, a night sparrow yokai that loves to sing her cares away through the night. And of course, as the name implies, she much prefers a nocturnal lifestyle. However, it's quite easy to really find her. It's not hard. She's always singing to herself. She's always making a racket. She's not incredibly bright. They say, but you know what they say about bird brains. One thing that you should probably keep an eye out for, if you can, considering the circumstances, is the fact that as you're traversing through the night, this is especially the case for humans, but it could affect yokai as well. But Mistia bears the ability to manipulate night blindness. Or, in essence, she makes the darkness of night even more difficult to see through. Like a gradually, increasingly opaque fog of the night. And of course, at the thickest, that's when she strikes. Other than that, you probably don't have too much to worry about. If any contestants are kind of on the of the more cannibalistic inclinations, if Mistia is killed, I hear that she would be quite delicious, as most other birds might be. I don't know. I wouldn't know myself. If such an event were to happen, y'all will have to let me know how that fares out. And then lastly, in District 5, we have Kane Kamishirasawa, a yokai that surprisingly is on good terms with humans. For you see, Kane at first glance would seem to be human. However, at the illumination of a full moon night, she is said to take on a yokai form as a were Hakutaku. A Hakutaku is a yokai that's well known, relatively, to bring predictions of disaster towards nobility or royalty. Perhaps in dreams, perhaps in real life, who can tell? Anyway, Kane has, being of a Hakutaku disposition, or not disposition, I guess, but you know what I mean. She's a Hakutaku. She has quite sharp insight, probably strong intuition too, and is probably knowledgeable about a variety of subjects, as she is a school teacher in the human village of Gensokyo. So if there's anyone you could probably trust with, a broader distribution of knowledge, Kane is your lady. Just don't make her angry on a full moon night. Along with that, she also bears the ability to, depending on form, erase or create history. Basically, the ability to manipulate the past. It seems to be divided based on her forms, in which, in her human form, she can erase history, whereas in her werebeast form is the creation of history. What exactly this would entail as far as utility in the games goes, who can tell? I mean, the best I could guess is perhaps, the enforcing of alternate timelines. This is one such timeline, and of course, due to such abilities, it would be pretty easy to make test runs, as I have done. And so, because of said granted test runs, I know for a fact that you shouldn't totally underestimate Chirno. Anyhow, that's about all there is to remark about our dearest school teacher. Moving on to District 6, I want to drink first. Tonight's beverage of choice is a slightly less than half-empty bottle of Sparkling Frost orange mango flavor. I was drinking it earlier today, but I wanted to make sure I didn't drink all of it, so I had enough for the games. Okay, moving on to District 6. Starting off, we have more beast yokais. First, it's important to clarify this ahead of time, an Earth Rabbit yokai of Tei Inaba. Tei is quite a remarkable face to see in the lineup this year. For you see, Tei offensively is not capable of too much. As a rabbit, she can be pretty fast, pretty slippery, but more importantly, she is incredibly sneaky and crafty and mischievous. Indeed, out of everyone, I would expect Tei to probably be the most familiar and most adept with setting up traps. Being able to trick and trap and overall make a fool out of other tributes. She just has that rabbity brain. But like I said, offensively, there's not a whole lot going on for her. She's just a troublemaker. However, who knows? She might be capable of deeper darker stuff. And as not only a yokai rabbit, but essentially the yokai rabbit to lead all other rabbits, her remarkable soul ability is a manipulation of luck. And so it would probably behoove our contestants to play nice with Tay, to be able to forge bonds, friendships with this silly rabbit. And perhaps good things will come to those pursuits. Good karma, if you allow the expression. And then next to her we have another rabbit, this time of a different persuasion. We had a rabbit from Earth, and now we have a rabbit from the Moon, with Reisen Udongin Inaba. Not quite as fortunate as Tay is. In fact, is often the butt of Tay's trickery. However, Reisen is no slouch on the battlefield either. She is a seasoned veteran in fighting on the Moon, fighting wars on the Moon. She's quite adept with firearms, ranged weaponry, but what makes her especially dangerous, especially nefarious, is her ability to manipulate wavelengths of light, and by extension, she can use these powers to, in essence, create illusory visions. And the culmination of said descriptions is the ability to induce insanity upon anyone who looks directly into her piercing red eyes. However, she is also an understudy of a rather reputable doctor, and so she also knows a thing or two about medicine, primarily its distribution, but she probably is led into a few tips and tricks as far as, medicinal herbs or the treatment of injuries. If you can't get the best on the field, she very much makes up second best. And of course, with the power to induce illusions upon anyone she chooses, it's also easy for other contestants to lose their way, to be at a loss for navigation. And who knows, they might just stray right to the edge of the arena and, just get sniped if they ever try to escape. But anyway, that is Reisen. Next up, we have her superior, Eirin Yogokuro, the Lunarian Ace. Likewise, whereas Yukari is a sage of Gensokyo, Eirin is a sage of the Moon, and is substantially older than I think anyone in our roster. However, that's mainly up to speculation, exactly how old she is, but she is incredibly knowledgeable and intelligent, being able to craft extremely intricate strategies that regular humans, would probably struggle with. Her main line of work is simply as the medicinal and medical expert of Gensokyo, for she was banished from the Moon for creating and consuming the rather infamous Horai elixir, or the elixir of immortality. which, you know, Lunarians, they're not all about, like, the whole life and death thing. They like to exist outside of those boundaries, and so drinking the elixir is, like, embracing that. And so they told her, like, hey, we respected you once, but, like, get the fuck out. And so she lives the rest of her days in Gensokyo, mainly in hiding, because, you know, you never know when a Lunarian emissary, a Lunarian spy, might stroll into town. Be on the lookout for her. But as I mentioned, she is primarily occupied with developing medicine and drugs, basically providing medical treatment for all of Gensokyo's residents, both human and yokai alike. Her medicine is known to come so expertly crafted that there are 0 side effects. She is that good, ladies and gentlemen and others. And just as a personal side note, Aideen will always have a little spot in my heart, because she is the character that served as my gateway to the Touhou series. But that's a different story. We have Aideen, a proficient medic for the battlefield. But of course, she's also proficient with archery, so she's not totally defenseless. Okay, next up, we have what could arguably be considered Aideen's superior in the one and only Princess Kaguya Horai-san. And you heard that right. This is the Princess Kaguya, my dear audience. Right in our midst, the legend herself. Anyhow, Kaguya, once also hailing from the moon, has not a whole lot going for her. Led a mostly sheltered life, being royalty and whatnot, but, you know, she was also banished from the moon for the, you know, ordering Aideen to create the Horai elixir, and then she consumed the Horai elixir herself, thus embracing the cycle of life and death. Well, sort of. For you see, like, as I mentioned, the Horai elixir is the elixir of immortality. So, yeah, you embrace the cycle of life and death, but you're still immortal. You still will never die. You know, it's just you won't die under the rules of life and death. So Kaguya is another fugitive from the moon, of royal prestige, and so very, very formal, very fancy, and she can make use of weaponizing her famous impossible requests. Not really because, you know, they were acquired for her, but just from the fact that she had them all along. Again, that's a whole other story. I'm trying to avoid too much lore to pad out the introductions. We still have a ways to go. Anyway, Kaguya, she has a rather peculiar ability, which is the manipulation of eternity. And, in a way, it also manifests as the manipulation of anything that is instant. Similarly to Sakuya, she can treat this ability as sort of a stopping time ability, except it's kind of in a different, it works differently. Whereas Sakuya can slow down time to be imperceptibly slow, Kaguya can actually freeze time to 0. Because it's basically, you know, with the manipulation of the instantaneous, it's essentially its own brand of eternity, just frozen in a single moment for all eternity if she wished. Or else, you know, she could go broad and do, you know, the usual, like, manipulation of infinity kind of deal. Shout out to any Lily pals that are into Jujutsu Kaisen. But that's Kaguya's deal. Survival-wise, she might struggle. She's quite privileged. However, manipulation of eternity, that can have its uses. And of course, being immortal, obviously she can't die, but, you know, she's gonna be a good sport. All immortal beings in the games have agreed to, you know, play by the game's rules. If they die, they will stay dead for the sake of the games until a champion is chosen. Anyway, moving on to District 7. We're almost halfway. Or no! No, we're past halfway. 12 districts. We just got past District 6. Okay, so for the sake of just getting on with it, I will try to summarize each contestant, and as brief as I can. I won't go over their background as much. Anyway, District 7, Fujiwara no Moko, a human that consumed the last known remainders of the Hori elixir, and thus was cursed with immortality, and living a life of immortality, she wanders the earth to learn various magics, of which she grew very proficient with fire magic. And of course, probably picked up a few martial arts skills on the side. So, kind of a dangerous deal as far as CQC is concerned. Next to Moko, we have Medicine Melancholy, a living doll. Not quite a possessed doll, and not quite a doll yokai. She was just a doll that manifested in Gensokyo one time, and was basically given life by an inhabiting spirit. Medicine is quite, similarly to Letty, quite a environmental hazard, as she has manipulation over poison, both its intensity as well as its spread. And so she could very well, you know, walk up, just kind of touch you on your bare skin, and that might be enough. That might be enough to kill you if left untreated. Otherwise, she could poison your food, you know, intoxicate the air, just choke you out. And of course, being a doll, she has no need for respiration. Yeah, beware of this doll. However, otherwise, I think being a doll, she is about as fragile as one, so keep that in mind. Komachi! Komachi is quite an interesting customer, as she is... She is essentially the ferryman of the Sanzu River, which is... She's essentially like the Gensokyo equivalent of Karen from Greek mythology, you know, underworld ferryman ferries the souls of the dead to the afterlife. Well, sort of. She has a rather lazy disposition. You know, she tends to go things at her own pace, and so, you know, that slowness, it might come to a detriment in the games. However, one thing that's quite interesting is that she has the manipulation of distance. She can manipulate distances between things, and so perhaps running away will not be as big of an issue for her if she can just, you know, maintain the distance between her and her aggressors. Of course, for the sake of the game, she has to play fair. Next up, we have her boss, Shigeki Yamazanadu, the one, the only judge of death, at least in Gensokyo's jurisdiction. No matter whether you live or die, you will never escape the Yama. Her judgment is absolute. Whether you live or die, you will never escape her. And so, naturally, she comes as an incredibly intimidating presence, in no short supply of, being combatively proficient in similar regards. However, I think she is more keen to try and talk things out rather than to like physically assault any contestants. Verbal assault is a different matter, though. She might be very good at that, or at least as far as hearsay says. District 8. But first, I must contend with my own meds, provided by the one and only Eiri Nyogokuro. Alright. Drugs, 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 drugs! Okay. Continuing on to District 8, we have some residents from the one Yokai Mountain, home not only to yokai but to a plethora of other folks from all various stretches of existence. Oh, I will also say, Komachi, she also has a huge scythe, so that'll come in handy. We could, at least I imagine it would come in handy. Everybody's gonna need a weapon of some form. So it's useful if you come in already prepared. Anyway. First up in District 8 we have Minariko Aki, one of the two Aki sisters that promotes the oncoming of autumn. In her case, she is a rather renowned enough mountain god who really stumbling over my words now. She's a goddess that is celebrated often for the autumn harvest, as she is often responsible for bringing said good harvests, promoting, the well-being of crops and just bountiful harvests. So if you make her mad, she's probably going to blight your gardens, and by blight I mean she's probably going to stomp all your crops. She does have a sister, an older sister, Shizuha Aki, responsible for the changing colors of the leaves. However, due to sisterly disputes, basically it was agreed upon that only Minariko would be able to compete in these games, in this season of games. Anyway, next up we have another mountain goddess in Hina Kageyama. She often familiarizes herself with Nagashibina dolls, for you see, she is a goddess of misfortune. And anybody who knows about Nagashibina dolls, they're useful in helping to dispel misfortunes. Anyway, she's the goddess kind of behind all that, and so she's rather dangerous to approach. She sadly probably won't make a lot of allies if anybody knows what's good for them. However, it would make things equally dicey for her enemies, for her opponents. So, it's an equal trade. Otherwise, there's not a whole lot going on for her. She loves to spin. She loves to partake in the art of rotation. For reasons we haven't been able to squeeze out of her. Next up, we have Nitori Kawashiro, a Kappa. And Kappa and Gensokyo are known for being quite innovative, very tech-savvy. And being tech-savvy, you could likely assume they're quite proficient with weaponry as well as traps. And of course, if anything, Nitori is here for the cash prize. Don't tell her it's not real. Kappas, in general, they tend to get along pretty well with humans, surprisingly. However, they are often notoriously shy. Nitori, though, shy as she might be, she's also kind of known as being, let's say, abrasive. Let's say abrasive to anybody she contacts. It was quite a surprise turn of character for those who were invested. Next up, we have Ayashame Maru, a Crow Tengu and rather infamous journalist, shall we say. She runs the Bunbunmaru newspaper for Gensokyo, and she also bears the manipulation of wind, and thus, out of everyone in the game's roster, she is by far the fastest, if that suggests anything. She's probably more interested in the aftermath of the games, trying to get a good story out, and so she's probably, I don't know, that could be reason to be determined to survive to the end. You know, if she makes it out alive, she's got one hell of a story to cover for her newspaper. However, her journalistic tactics are much to be desired. She is, let's just say, she doesn't have a whole lot of friends. And she probably will have difficulty making friends in the games. Up next, continuing our surge of residents on the Yokai Mountain, we finally have another human, only technically, with Sanai Kochiya. I will say, I'm partly hoping to see Sanai perhaps pull through, if only because she celebrates frogs. You see that little froggy pin in her hair? She is a froggy ally. But no matter, Sanai is a human priestess, business rival to Reimu, with the ability to create miracles. However, unlike a lot of abilities of like other yokai or perhaps other gods, her miracles kind of require some preparation. They require like precise rituals and like procedures in order to happen. Otherwise, she's a wind priestess, so maybe some wind power there, not nearly to the extent of Aya, but you know, she's good-natured. She also hails from the outside world originally. Originally from the outside world, she has knowledge of some of our customs, some of our media, culture, but of course now she's totally cut off, you know, being in Gensokyo and whatnot. She's also gone on some yokai extermination jobs every once in a while, and she seems to be decent enough at the job, so, you know, maybe not quite as proficient as Reimu and Marissa, but hey, all the yokai out there, don't underestimate Sanai Kochiya. Next up, we have the first of her two superiors in Kanako Yasaka, a sky goddess, and basically the visual head, the figurehead of the Moria Shrine. Incredibly powerful, has a lot of followers, which is very good for a god. Capable of several things. Several great, grand-standing powers that only a goddess could really understand or even wield. So basically, Kanako, you don't want to piss her off. She would make quite a valuable ally, though. Both in fighting as well as potential, like, utility benefits. She does also have a little bit of knowledge on industry. So, like, maybe a little bit of knowledge on, like, machinery and whatnot. And thus, by extension, creating traps. I don't know. I'm speculating here, folks. But next up, the final contestant hailing from the Yokai Mountain and Moria Shrine specifically, Suwako Moria, the original god that the shrine was built in honor to. She handed over, like, shrine responsibilities to Kanako in basically exchange in just being able to do whatever she wants. And you know, honestly, folks, I'm kind of rooting for her a little bit even more than Sanai because Suwako, like, actively loves frogs. She is a staunch pro-frogist. She is an earth goddess and so has vast manipulation over terrain, among other things. It should be noted that as far as gods go, she is more powerful than Kanako, but, you know, has basically just agreed to let Kanako take the reins as far as shrine duties, miracles, whatnot. Suwako. I should also clarify, she is a friend to frogs, she's not a frog goddess. It's important to make that distinction. But that said, if you do something to piss off us frogs, you're gonna piss her off by extension. So keep that in mind. Next up, instead of going up, we're now heading down underground, starting with Yamame Kurodani, a spider yokai with quite a nasty ability, honestly. Just by her own, she's rather sporty. She loves a good fight. But what makes her so infamous is her ability, and that is the manipulation of diseases. Do not scratch your knee when you're around this spider. It's like a single scrape, a single scratch, and it'll be Infection City. So, you know, if you want to live, maybe just don't underestimate Yamame. Keep a sharp eye on your wounds, as well as, like, the air you breathe, the water you drink, the food you eat. There's pretty much just nothing to be trusted about being in close proximity to Yamame. But next up, we're finally in the double digits, with 3 districts to go. Starting off with Parsi Mitsuhashi. Parsi is a yokai that watches over the bridge to the former Hell, underground. There's nothing too remarkable about her. Although it should be noted she has kind of a nasty disposition, as she is besieged by her own power over envy and jealousy. She is jealous of absolutely everyone, even her friends. She will just find something, and Parsi will find a reason to be jealous of it. That's how she works. And so, even if strength-wise she might not be too remarkable, she could be regarded as easily angered, you know, short-tempered. So, I don't know, take that as you will. On the other hand, Next up, we have Yugi Hoshiguma. Yugi is an Oni and one of the 4 Devas of the mountain. Being an Oni, she possesses an insane amount of physical strength. She particularly loves some good booze. She can shatter rock with the flick of her finger. And one benefit to having her as an ally, Oni psychologically, just part of their core nature, they are always honest. They never tell a lie. And so, if Yugi says, she or one of her Oni friends could, crack the moon in half, and she just, outright says it with no hesitation, you better fucking believe her. And so Yugi, probably quite an interesting person to get into a fracas with. At least from an audience perspective, I don't envy anybody who has to go toe-to-toe with Yugi. She also has the ability to manipulate the supernatural, which nobody knows what that really means. So, shrug. Okay. Next up, we have another rather infamous yokai, not so much in the power department, but just by nature. Satori Koneiji. Satori is a Satori, a yokai that bears a 3rd eye, and this 3rd eye is capable of reading minds, reading consciousness. And so, nobody really wants to be allied with her because nobody is comfortable with having their brains read. Nobody ever wants to be outed for the only, seemingly constant private haven that they have for themselves. Satori can disclose it on a whim. And so, yeah, everybody hates her. But that said, her mind reading also comes with a plethora of advantages. Obviously, strategically, playing the diplomacy game. If this were Game of Thrones, she would play so good. She would be such a good player. And then, of course, having a history of reading minds, she has a history of taking in the attacks and abilities of other people that she's encountered in the past, and being able to make some use of it. Maybe not quite to the same adaptability as Marissa, but she can there's still room for utility, at the very least. Satori works as basically the mistress of the Palace of Earth Spirits. She manages all the vengeful spirits that float down there. They float down there, Georgie. Otherwise, were it not for her ability, she is generally of a pretty agreeable nature. She's rather civil. No real knowledge on her physique, her physical aspects. It seems to all be allocated to the mind. However, I think in compensation to that is our next contestant, our final contestant of District 10, Rin Kainbyo, who is a Kasha, another cat-like yokai, distinctly a cat from hell. And these hellcats, they have a really nasty habit of finding corpses on the ground and just stealing them. They are notorious grave robbers. What they do with the corpses, it's rumored that, just based on their locale, Rin carts off her corpses to toss into the fiery inferno of former hell to keep its fires ablaze. Of course, this is only speculation. Rin is a rather cheerful individual, all things considered. You know, it would be good to have her as a friend under any other circumstances. Yeah, Rin. Most often preferring the nickname Orin, so she will be addressed as such throughout the games. Yeah, nothing too much else. Oh, she has attacks that make use of zombie fairies. So, you know, if she's in a pickle, she might call upon them, call upon vengeful spirits to come to her aid. And yeah, it's like if you're trying to keep track of a corpse for some reason, really keep an eye on it, because the next thing you know, it'll be gone. It'll be in her cart, in her wheelbarrow. Alright, District 11. Next up on the Hell roster, the former Hell roster, we have Utsuho Ryuji, or Oku, as her friends call her, and as the games will address her. She is a Hell Raven that consumed the essence of a Yatagarasu, or basically a sun god, and so essentially harnessed the power of nuclear fusion and fission. She has theoretically infinite power potential. In one manner or another, she can summon whole suns on a whim, and you know, all the hazards that come with it. One clear advantage that most contestants will likely have over Oku, though, is the fact that, being a raven, she has an utter bird brain. She is regarded amongst her contemporaries as being probably one of the most unintelligent, like rivaling that potentially even of Chirno. And so, you know, with sheer power comes at the cost of intelligence. And so it would probably be for the best if our fellow tributes would probably think of a simple strategy just to get around her. You better warm up those dodging skills, though, or she'll throw the sun at you. Utterly scorch the landscape. Obviously, for the sake of the game, she's not allowed to do that, but you know how it is. Rounding up our Hell residents, we have none other than the younger sister of Satori Komeiji, Koishi. She is also a Satori. However, her third eye abilities are rather distinct from her sister's, for as where her sister's third eye is ever open and thus always observing the conscious, Koishi in her past has closed her third eye forcefully, willingly but forcefully. It was no easy feat. And with the closing of her third eye, she has lost all semblance of self in exchange for total awareness of the conscious. She now has total, I guess awareness isn't quite the right word, but the total encompassing of powers over the subconscious. If anybody is playing the stealth game, Koishi is by far the best at it. For Koishi, being a creature of the subconscious, she can walk directly in front of you, and you can look at her straight in her cute, adorable little face. You could look at her, but you could not see her. Your brain would never register. And so much of her true power potential remains unclear, unknown. And of course, having lost all sense of a conscious self in exchange for said powers, Koichi is the true wild card amongst our tributes. You never know what she will do next, because not even she knows. Next up, District 11, we have Nazrin, a mouse yokai. Combat-wise, not too capable of much, although, you know, close quarters combat is probably more her niche. She carries and wields two long, huge dowsing rods to use them to the advantage of her ability, which is the ability to find treasure, to seek out and find any kind of treasure. And so, perhaps, Nazrin is probably the best at scavenging through other tributes' supplies, seeing anything of value out in the wilderness. So as far as the survival game goes, Nazrin is probably going to be one of the better bets. Wrapping up District 11, we have Kogasa Tadara, our first Tsukumogami, or object yokai. Specifically, she is an umbrella yokai that loves to scare the pants out of humans. Or at least she would if she wasn't so bad at it. Bless her soul. Otherwise, in regards to combat, she's not really capable of much, and she's not the most intelligent. However, she does also have some capacity for blacksmithing, if that's anything. Maybe she could identify, like, certain useful metals or something. I don't know. We can only speculate. Who knows? Maybe she might rise to the championship like Chirno did in the test run. I don't know. We can only speculate until we properly begin the games, Lily Pals. Which, speaking of getting on with the games, we are down, at last, to our final district, District 12. Hailing from the Myorin Temple, we have the Buddhist yokai nun Ichirin Kumoi, and by extension, her partner. I forget what it's called, but they're basically a powerful cloud yokai named Unzan. With control over Unzan, she has huge CQC potential. She by herself is not capable of a whole lot, despite being a yokai. Unzan basically makes up the bulk of her abilities, which shan't be underestimated. You know, like laser eye vision that can incinerate you instantly. Huge fists of just solid, packed cloud vapor. Which, I mean, if it's coming at you fast enough, I mean, it counts. It counts. He might be an old, retired man, but he still has Ichirin's back whenever she needs him, which is pretty much constantly. They're basically inseparable, hence why we put them in the same slot. Up next, we have a ghost of Minamitsu Murasa, a specific type of ghost of a warrior that died by shipwreck. And as such, she has the power to cause shipwrecks. Not too useful as far as the games go. I mean, there are bodies of water out in the arena, but they're usually like small rivers. Like, nothing substantial enough to warrant ever sailing on a boat. But who knows? I mean, among that, she's also strong enough to throw entire anchors at her opponents. So that's something, at least. And being sort of a type of vengeful ghost, she's probably not too friendly around humans. That's something to note for our human contestants. Next up, we have our final beast yokai, but not just any beast yokai. We have the one and only Sho Toramaru, avatar to one of, 12 gods? 12 Buddhist gods of fortune? Bishamonten, who also specializes with war. She is otherwise a tiger yokai, so immense strength right off the bat. She wields a miniature pagoda that can shoot lasers that can instantly turn just about anything into ash. Alongside that, being an avatar of a fortune god, her main ability is the ability to attract fortune, to attract treasure. And so perhaps she might make a bolt for the cornucopia at the very start of the games. Oh yeah, I forgot to address the cornucopia. So, at the very start of the game, when all the contestants are rounded up inside the arena, there's a central area, platform sort of deal, that's filled with all sorts of different supplies. You know, medical supplies, utilities, but most of all, weapons. Lots and lots of weapons. And so, you know, usually the contestants, when the games begin, they have the choice of taking the risk to take something from the cornucopia at the risk of somebody else coming in to kill them, or they can choose to flee for safety. Which one they choose is entirely done at their own discretion. And finally, at long last, I can't scroll down anymore, so unfortunately her name is partly covered. We have Byakuren Hijiri, a yokai nun who was sealed for centuries in the demon realm of Makai, and within her years of awaiting, sealed away, she has learned quite a few tricks from the residents, primarily in the practicing of various magics that allow her primarily to bestow her with certain superhuman physical capabilities, super strength, super speed, and of course, she has the light of Dharma on her side. Or light of Buddha, I guess I should say. A very devout Buddhist. Normally, she doesn't condone violence, but considering in the past, you know, GENSOKYO having spell card rules, you know, combat is typically non-lethal. Nevertheless, why am I saying nevertheless? With spell card duels being non-lethal, Byakuren would agree to spell card duels, but for life and death, like combat battles, you know, normally she wouldn't be all about that. As far as what changed her mind to participate in the GENSOKYO games, we can only speculate. Who knows? She would make quite a valuable ally and quite an easy ally to make, as she's very, very kind to human, but primarily to yokai. She's kind of active in bringing yokai to enlightenment. You know, however difficult that is to do. No matter. That is all of our contestants for all 12 districts. You know what that means, Lily Pals. At long last, with the reaping and the introductions all out of the way, all 48 tributes are now being sent into the arena. Oh, yeah, disclaimer. Yeah. Wait, what? Oh dear. Technical difficulties. Did it just rip? Don't worry. Don't worry, I anticipated this. Okay. Technical difficulties. We'll be right back in just a moment. Okay. Okay. We got it. Starting things off. The GENSOKYO games have begun. And so occurs the bloodbath in the cornucopia. As the tributes stand on their podiums, the horn sounds. First up we have Hong Mei Ling, who runs away from the cornucopia. Flanders scares Koichi away from the cornucopia. Incredibly valid. I don't know how she could tell Koichi was there, but, you know, Flander is very scary. Flander is. That's perfectly understandable. The power to destroy anything and everything. Sakuya makes a dash and takes a sickle from inside the cornucopia. Not content with just throwing knives this time around. This time around. Erin snatches a bottle of alcohol and a rag, so she can make use of a Molotov sometime later. Yugi finds a canteen full of water. Sorry, Yugi, there's no alcohol outside of the kind you burn for Molotovs. I mean, maybe that's enough for you. I don't know. But there's going to be a shortage of booze. You'll have to make do with good old H2O. Hina grabs a jar of fishing bait, while Letty gets the fishing gear. So they have two things that the other needs, interestingly enough. Raysen snatches a pair of sais. Interesting choice. She's more proficient with, you know, ranged combat. Maybe she'll try to compensate for, you know, Sakuya going melee. The Prism Rivers, Yomu, Sanai, and Remilia share everything they gathered before running. I'm gonna... Oh, whoops. That wasn't what I wanted. I'm gonna try and zoom out a bit so I can get all the text. Let's go! She just screamed, Molotov, let's go! Okay, you're not gonna be able to see all of the text, but, well, I can still zoom out a little bit. I just wanted to keep everything in the center. Everything in the center. Okay. So like I said, Prism Rivers, Yomu, Sanai, and Remilia share supplies before running off into the wilderness. An interesting turnout. Aya runs away from the cornucopia, very good at running away. Oku runs away from the cornucopia, surprisingly. Then again, I suppose she has just as much offensive material on her own. Medicine grabs a backpack, not realizing that it's empty. Eiki runs away from the cornucopia. Chirno takes a handful of throwing knives. Everybody wants to be Sakuya in these games, I guess. Kaguya finds a bag full of explosives. It would probably take more than that to take care of her, but we can't speak for the other contestants. Not all of them, anyway. Chen runs away. Yuyuko runs away. Mistia runs away, flying off into the distance, over the trees. Percy runs away with a lighter and some rope. Interesting. Perhaps we'll see an alliance between Parsi and Annie later on. Alice finds a bag full of explosives. I've actually heard she has some experience with gunpowder and filling her own dolls full of said gunpowder. So perhaps that's not entirely unexpected. Sho runs away from the cornucopia, contrary to what I expected. Ran runs away with a lighter and some rope. Kugasa runs away from the cornucopia, not too surprising. Tay runs away. Gotta catch the bunny. The bunny's gonna run, you gotta catch the bunny. Moko runs away. Nitori takes a sickle. Orin runs away. I'm just peeking in with my binoculars. It appears that her wheelbarrow is still empty. So, no worries. She might not have taken anything from the cornucopia, but she's not taking a corpse either. Byakuren receives a trident from inside the cornucopia. Isn't that fitting for a Buddhist nun? Reimu takes a spear from inside the cornucopia. I suppose without her purification rod, it'll probably be the next best thing. Ichidin scares Yukari away from the cornucopia. Interesting. Yukari wasn't feeling too good about those cloud fists. So she just teleports away. Well, not teleport, she portals away. Marissa runs away from the cornucopia. Okay. Wriggle runs away. She wiggles away. Wriggle, wiggle, wriggle, wiggle. Satori and Murasa fight for the bag, and Satori gives up and retreats. She couldn't take the anchorage. Kane runs away. Kanako runs away, surprisingly. Minoriko runs into the cornucopia and hides. I guess I'm not totally surprised. As far as gods go, she's not the most powerful. I mean, she's proficient with food. Food, veggies, harvests. She can make your rations taste delicious. But not much else. Yamame stays at the cornucopia for resources. Oh no, Minoriko! Oh, you be careful. That's one hell of a spider you got nearby. Komachi finds a bow, some arrows, and a quiver. Interesting. Nazrin runs away. Interesting. So both Nazrin and Sho, who are, they have a tighter bond. Neither one of them, even being associated with finding goodies, they both run away from the cornucopia. Patchouli, Suwako, and Rumia work together to get as many supplies as possible. Go Team Frog God! But not literally. And so, we proceed. It's day 1. All the contestants have either retrieved something from the cornucopia or fled into the wilderness. And surprisingly, there were no deaths, despite being, titled The Bloodbath. That's quite interesting. Ayaya. She literally says that. Sometimes you run away because all you need is your bare hands. Alright. Beginning of day 1. We have Orin traveling to higher ground for reasons unknown. Sakuya questions her sanity. It's a bit early, Sakuya. Maybe you've been spending too much time around the yokai. Parsi accidentally steps on a landmine, and that is our first death. Did she get jealous of the landmine and sought to usurp it? That's my guess. Also, before I continue, I want to say, despite being, you know, the host, I am not immune to partiality into some contestants, certain contestants over others. I mean, personally, obviously, I hope Suwako gets the championship, but if I had to pick two others, I would go with... You would think I would go with Sanai, but that's too easy. That's too easy. District 1 best district, living in not poverty. I guess I'm not really rooting for a particular district either. I'm going more specific. So I want either Suwako to win, and two other picks. I'll go with Reimu, because I love Reimu. Otherwise... Fuck it, Erin. I'll go with Erin. So, top three picks, Suwako, Reimu, or Erin. However, there are certain contestants where, like, if they won, I wouldn't be mad. Anyway, we have Parsi now in multiple pieces. Parsi in pieces. Yeah. Minoriko attacks Satori, but she manages to escape. I'm not sure what you were planning, Minoriko, but like Satori probably knew you were coming. I don't know if she has to have a visual on a person in order to read their thoughts, but you know. Anyway, Yamame defeats Kaguya in a fight but spares her life. Fascinating. I mean, if you had to choose a target to kill, Kaguya would probably be among one of the most guiltless, you know, to kill. Because, like, Kaguya, no matter what, is coming back, just not within the games. Which is to say, you know, obviously, any of the immortal contestants, they're gonna come back, but outside the games. Meanwhile, probably all of the humans, as well as like a select few yokai, are probably not immune to death. Like total, absolute death. Next up, Eiki stalks medicine. Be careful, Eiki. You're the judge of death, but you wouldn't want to judge yourself now so quick. Byakuran receives medical supplies from an unknown sponsor. That was fast. Hina hunts for other tributes, and it's just as well, carrying all that misfortune, just being her. It's probably good to go aggressive early. Aya begs for Moko to kill her. She refuses, keeping Aya alive. Knowing Moko, she probably considers that a fate worse than death. How interesting that like it's wind versus fire, I don't know. Usually Moko goes with a phoenix motif, and so it's interesting, like, two semi-bird yokai go at it. Eating picks flowers. Probably for herbal remedies, if I had to guess. Medicinal purposes. Can he throw the knife into Sawako's head? No! 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 Oh, Sawako! Sawako! Oh. Okay. I have to substitute rooting for Sawako to rooting for Sanai. Sanai is now our only hope for the frogs. Hopefully Okay. No jinx. No jinx. You know the rules. I knocked wood. Anyway. Oh, that's so sad. Kane, how could you? Mistia, Cherno, the Prison Rivers, and Letty all hunt for other tributes, so they forged a temporary alliance, a hunting party. Reimu, Nitori, Rumia, and Raisin hunt for other tributes. We have a couple hunting parties organizing. Oh, interesting. I would actually expect Mistia and Cherno to team up. Cherno and Letty teaming up, though, is interesting because as far as I recall, Letty is not too fond of Cherno. You know, like, because Cherno is so stupid and foolish. You know, it's like you're giving Ice Yokai a bad name. you're giving, you know, the beings of the cold a bad rep. I wouldn't expect Nitori to team up with Reimu, though. She's usually preferential to Marissa. Oh well. Kogasa hunts for other tributes. She's probably not going to be capable of much, aside from maybe a good jump scare. Sanai's trap kills Marasa! Wow, good going, Sanai, good play! So how many deaths is that? 3? 3 deaths. Nazrin begs for Yuki to kill her. She refuses, keeping Nazrin alive. Huh. Yeah, I would expect Yugi to utterly, like, dominate Nazrin in combat, but I don't know. Oni tend to have a respect for power, and so maybe she sees something else in Nazrin. Yuyuko overhears Koichi and Ran talking in the distance, although from her POV it would probably just look like Ran talking to herself. Koichi is virtually undetectable. Komachi collects fruit from a tree and lazes it up. Classic Komachi. Wriggle goes hunting, along with the myriads of insects, so there's probably bound to be something worth salvaging. Tay hunts for other tributes. Uh-oh. Sneaky bunny. Mei Ling constructs a shack. Ichidin scares Marissa off. Again, just shadowboxing menacingly. Flander begs for Sho to kill her, and she refuses, keeping Flander alive. We have some of that Buddhist nobility shining through. Although Sho does have the capacity to be absolutely brutal if she wanted to. And of course, sparing Flander, that might cost her or somebody else later. Chen thinks about home, her village of cats, Mayohika. Oku, Yukari, Kanako, and Patchley hunt for other tributes. You want to talk about a power party? This is a power party. I mean, Patchley doesn't contribute too much, but we have nuclear fusion, Gensokyo Sage, Sky Goddess. that alone is a power trio. Wow. Yomu thinks about home. Thinks about the netherworld. Remilia chases Alice. Remilia seems to know how to handle Alice. Aim for Alice directly, ignore all the dolls. Okay. 4 cannon shots can be heard in the distance. I think this is just an error on the website's part. Parsi from District 10. Suwako from District 9. Marasa from District 12. So it was just 3 deaths. Okay. Next up, we are continuing into the following night. Night 1. Kogasa lets Chen into her shelter. Aww. Kane sets up camp for the night. From the sound of it, it doesn't seem like there's a full moon tonight. Kaguya defeats the Prism Rivers in a fight, but spares their lives. Kinda have to wonder about the rationale of Kaguya's mercy. Kaguya's kind of the type to be, like, condescending. Then again, maybe she's only condescending to mortals, and the Prism Rivers are poltergeists, so they're kinda... they don't count. Komachi destroys Chirno's supplies while she is asleep. Ooh, no more throwing knives for Chirno. Alice strangles Ichirin after engaging in a fist fight. Holy crap. Alice got into a fist fight with Ichirin and won. Ichirin Unzan, like, what went wrong? Maybe she got the element of surprise. Aya defeats Ran in a fight, but spares her life. Beating a 9-tailed fox yokai, that's nothing to scoff at. Letty questions her sanity. Most likely from, being in close proximity to Chirno. Mei Ling and Yuki run into each other and decide to truce for the night. This would be a duel for the ages. Martial arts master versus an Oni. I would love to see that fight. Yuyuko cries herself to sleep. Oh no. Raisin attempts to start a fire but is unsuccessful. Hina tracks down and kills Aki! Holy shit! Hina just brought the misfortune down on the Judge of Death! Holy crap! Applause for Hina, wow! That's surprising, but not totally surprising. Like, it makes sense how it happened, it's just like, huh, I didn't think of that. Hina said, I am the only green-haired girl allowed to exist here. Nazrin cooks her food before putting her fire out. She's probably not a picky eater, being a mouse. Oku looks at the night sky, not realizing that all the stars in the sky, she could very well create, like at a snap of her fingers. Probably not aware that all the stars are other suns far, far away in the sky. Patchouli looks at the night sky, probably doing some like astrological work to be like all in tune with her lunar magics. Koichi tries to treat her infection. Oh dear. Satori throws a knife into Nitori's head. Oh goodness. Oh, the resourceful little Kappa. She never saw it coming. Which I guess is a mercy. Sorry, that was just a quick swig. Sakuya poisons Sanai's drink but mistakes it for her own and dies. Sakuya! I am shocked at you. You're smarter than that. Apparently not. Maybe it was by a miracle. Sanai committed a miracle and survived. In that case, good going, Sanai. Making use of your strengths. Reimu receives an explosive from an unknown sponsor. Only good things. Only good things to come. Mistia, Minariko, Yukari, and Yamame tell each other ghost stories to lighten the mood. Yukari's probably very good at this. Yamame's probably not too shabby either. Kanako sets an explosive off, killing Tay! Oh my god, the tricky rabbit got tricked! Holy crap. I mean, it was by Kanako, so, like... Goodness. Well, congratulations, Kanako. You probably got the luckiest rabbit stew for dinner tonight. Sho unknowingly eats toxic berries! No! No, Sho, I was hoping better for you. Low-key. I mean, then again, Sho is a tiger yokai, and tigers are obligate carnivores. So pretty much any berries would probably be toxic. Rumia questions her sanity. I wouldn't imagine her to be smart enough to even consider her sanity. Yomu quietly hums. Orion stabs medicine while her back is turned! I don't know how that equates necessarily to death, but nevertheless, medicine is dead! The doll is dead! The poisonous doll! Although medicine is probably just like the equivalent of, you know, a rag doll now. Probably doesn't constitute a corpse. So, Orion, you're probably not going to make too good a use out of it. Not to mention, medicine is poisonous even after death. So, you know, don't be too quick to act. Marissa cooks her food before putting her fire out. Remilia, Aideen, and Byakuran discuss the games and what might happen in the morning. We have quite an intellectual party right here. Flander destroys Moko's supplies while she is asleep. And you know, since it's coming from Flander, there is no recovering those supplies. They are gone. Absolute oblivion. Riko receives clean water from an unknown sponsor. Moving on from the night into day 2. The GENSOKYO games. The Prism Rivers receive fresh food from an unknown sponsor. Remilia explores the arena. Or at least as best to her capability. She probably has an umbrella. Probably not for a great offensive use. No matter. Oku discovers a cave. Moko makes a wooden spear. Probably too easy to light on fire. So careful there, Moko. Koishi injures herself! I mean, if it weren't for these announcements, if it weren't for this coverage, we would never know. So, you know, shout out to the prompters for somehow having the knowledge of being able to keep track of Koishi. Orion attacks Mei Ling, but Patchouli protects her, killing Orion! Oh, no corpses for the kitty! And in a moment of Scarlet Devil Mansion's solidarity, Mei Ling and Patchouli. Close quarters and magical damage. Man, Orion probably didn't stand a chance. Yuyuko diverts Rumia's attention and runs away. I can't imagine Yuko would have much to fear from Rumia. Then again, that probably wouldn't stop Rumia from trying to eat Yuyuko. Minariko diverts Kanako's attention and runs away. From god to god. Yomu and Chen split up to search for resources. Yomu is a gardener. Probably has some knowledge of, you know, like the local flora, if any might be useful. And then Chen, being a cat, probably has sharp kitty senses. Makes sense. Kogasa searches for firewood. Annie injures herself. Well, that's not a big deal. She's a doctor. She knows what to do. She's probably the best doctor you could ever ask for. So she would probably excel at recovery. Letty runs away from Aya. I can't imagine why. Aya would probably be good at distributing, you know, her snow, her blizzards. Oh well. Maybe she was just too scared of Aya nosing into her business, as Aya is wont to do. Kane receives an explosive from an unknown sponsor. Byakuran searches for a water source. Yamami searches for firewood. Flander defeats Hina in a fight but spares her life. Maybe she was like, hey, you know what? You killed the Yama. Like, Yama's just gone. Good on ya. Bring that spirit to the other tributes. And then just left. Reimu injures herself. Reimu, where's that good fortune that you're so ever known for? Yugi, Yukari, and Nazrin hunt for the other tributes. Maybe Yugi just has a soft spot for Nazrin. I mean, Yugi and Yukari, just by themselves, that's a power couple. That's danger on 4 legs. Raisin chases Sanai. Probably having some fun with her with, like, distorting the environment with her illusions. I'm sure Sanai made it out okay, though. Marissa tries to spearfish with a trident. Regal falls into a frozen lake and drowns! Oh no! All the bugs! She and all the bugs, they've frozen solid. They're not well attuned to the ice. Now we can only speculate whether Chirno is responsible for that lake or Letty. Anyway, Komachi sees smoke rising in the distance but decides not to investigate. Keeping her distance. Alice attacks Satori, but she manages to escape. Satori is really pulling through. I mean, reading minds, that probably helps a lot. It helps so much in combat. Chirno constructs a shack. She probably builds an igloo. Kaguya collects fruit from a tree. Probably peaches. Ran makes a wooden spear. Mistia receives clean water from an unknown sponsor. Alright. An arena event has occurred. Carnivorous squirrels start attacking the tributes. Oh no! Not the carnivorous squirrel yokai. Remilia survives. Chirno, in agony, kills Moko so she does not have to be attacked by the squirrels. So basically just threw Moko into the squirrel pile. I mean, Moko's gonna be okay post-games. Chirno is questionable. Kaguya survives. Mei Ling survives. Sanai survives. Whew. Nazrin survives. They probably identified a fellow rodent. Letty survives. Mistia uses the squirrels to her advantage, shoving Kogasa into them! Kogasa's down! Oh god!
Infinity! Oh my god, it's been forever! How you doing?
It has been.
Do good, that's good. You doing? I'm doing pretty dang fine.
Sit down, get comfy. We're in the middle of some Hunger Games between my favoriteest girls. Okay, back to carnivorous squirrels. Komachi survives, probably able to broaden the distance between her and them with ease. Yugi survives, no surprise. Yukari survives, no shocker. Ran tries to kill as many squirrels as she can, but there are too many! Oh my god! Nine-tailed fox yokai. Absolutely destroyed by the sheer number of squirrels. Minoriko tries to kill as many squirrels as she can, but there are too many! Oh no! Minoriko is too delicious. And now all the rations are just gonna taste blah. Koichi survives because the squirrels just don't notice her. Kenny uses the squirrels to her advantage, shoving Patchouli into them. Oh my god. Brutal. I mean, Patchouli was probably pretty hopeless. Her physical prowess is just, it's terrible. The squirrels separate to kill Erin and Aya. Oh no, not Erin. I mean, it's kind of shocking that they kept up with Aya. Maybe it was just sheer numbers. Oh man, Erin didn't even have any time to properly recover from her injury, so that probably makes sense why she died. But Yuyuko survives. I mean, naturally, being the mistress of death. Yamame is brutally attacked by a scurry of squirrels. I imagine she probably didn't survive. And, I mean, it's basically 100% probability that the squirrels have all contracted rabies. Chan survives. She probably found a cozy little spot in a tree somewhere. The squirrels separate and kill Marissa and Yomu. Wow. Wow, the thieving ordinary magician and the netherworld gardener. I mean, Yomu is probably gonna be fine. I mean, she's probably dead as far as the games are concerned. Marissa's just dead though. Goodness. Well, that's... Reimu is down one best friend. Ouch. Okay. Flander, in agony, kills Raisin so she does not have to be attacked by the squirrels. Oh god, Raisin's dead. I mean, this makes me wonder, like, did Flander, like, obliterate Raisin? Well, yeah. Yeah, it says kills Raisin, so yeah, there's no trace of Raisin left. She is gone. She has succumbed to utter entropy of the universe. Anyway, actually, I don't know. It doesn't really clarify if Flander got attacked by the squirrels instead. The prison burgers try to kill as many squirrels as they can, but there are too many! No matter their own numbers, the squirrels outnumber them. Like, probably, I want to say 30-3, so 10-1. Satori survives. She probably saw it coming from a long shot away. Hina uses the squirrels to her advantage, shoving Rumia into them. Oh my god. The yokai of darkness has now faded into the darkness, the proverbial darkness. God, Hina is on a roll. Kanako survives. She's probably just hanging up in the sky somewhere. Just hanging out on a cloud. Reimu is brutally attacked by a scurry of squirrels! No! Oh my god, that's both of the protagonists dead! Well, protagonist and deuteragonist. Our two main girls. Our two primary incident resolvers. Yokai exterminators. Utterly defeated. Okay. And then Byakuran survives. Could probably overpower or outspeed the squirrels. Alice survives, probably protected from a shield of dolls. And Oku survives. Alright, so let's see, that's Erin and Reimu dead, so I have to update my picks. I'm gonna go with Byakuran, and Yugi. Byakuran and Yugi. And Sanai, of course. Sanai survived, so... Okay, that's 23 cannon shots. It means half of our tributes are already gone. Death by squirrels. So, 23 cannon shots, starting with Ichirin and Unzan by extension. Eiki, the Judge of Death! That was a big shock to me. Okay, not that big a shock, but it was still like, wow, didn't see that coming. Nitori. Sakuya. Sakuya, you had the dumbest death. Tay got out-tricked. That was quite mean. Yep, Sho is dead. Toxic berries. Oh yeah, I have to mention their districts. Ichirin, District 12, Eiki, District 7, Nitori, District 8, Sakuya, District 2, Tay, District 6, Sho, District 12, Medicine, District 7, still unsure of how exactly, being stabbed in the back resulted in her death. Maybe there's some sort of, like, internal rule inside the arena that allows that to happen. Or, for all I know, maybe she's playing pretend. Orin from District 10. Wriggle from District 5. Moko, District 7. Kogasa, District 11. Ran, District 4. Minariko, District 8. Patchouli, District 2. Man, after defending Mei Ling, too. That's quite an unfortunate sight. Arian from District 6. No, Miss Doctor. Mistress Doctor. Aya. Okay, no more newspaper. Yamame. Now all the squirrels have rabies. Marissa. Oh, wait. Aya District 8. Yamame District 9. Marissa District 1. Yomu District 4. I think her ghost half, in particular, is probably the one who's fine. Her human half is probably all chewed up. Nice and bloody mush now. Raisin District 8. The Prism River Sisters, District 4. Lyrica, Merlin, and Lunasa. No more BGM now. You heard it, folks. Dead silence. Okay. Rumia, District 1, not terribly surprising. Reimu, District 1, that hurt. That hurt. That hurt to see. Along with Erin. Okay. Night 2. Yukari dies from trying to escape the arena? Yukari, what were you trying to accomplish? Oh my god. Sage of Gensokyo, everyone. Maybe she wanted, like, the chance to murder, like, one of the, previous tributes, but didn't have a chance to do it, thanks to the squirrels. The squirrel rampage. Yeah. Seriously, like, Yukari, what could have been going through your head? Oh, it's such a waste. Hina receives medical supplies from an unknown sponsor. Oku screams for help. Probably not realizing, she has sons at her disposal. Komachi and Alice fight Sanai and Flander. Komachi and Alice survive! No, Sanai! No, our froggy priestess! No! No! The froggy Tohos are gone! All 2 of them! Oh, man. Oh, it's so sad. If Tiny comes in later, I bet she'll be weeping as well. Sanai, like, is like the spitting image of Tina. No matter. And Flanders succumbed to the attack too. That's rather surprising. Flanders is so powerful, so unimaginably powerful. But hey, at least now when people die, there will probably be remains. Whoa! Didn't mean to do that. Okay. Yuyuko receives medical supplies. Byakuya intends to her wounds. It's probably not the first time she's had to do something with someone else. She probably knows how to use it on herself. Nazrin convinces Yugi to snuggle with her. Wow. What character arcs? Nazrin and Yugi, I never would have imagined. Maybe Yugi does have a soft spot for the mouse. I mean, the mouse is quite cute. And I mean, snuggling with an Oni like Yugi, like, that has to be a gift. Like, life or death, you have that going for you. You convinced an Oni to snuggle with you. That is glorious and gay. It's so gay. Kaguya looks at the night sky, likely pondering the moon, her former home. Letty, Koichi, Chirno, Satori, and Remilia track down and kill Kane. I have to give a personal thumbs up to every single one of them. Kane was the one who killed Suwako, so I approve of this. But still, like, 5v1. I mean, history powers aside, Kane, you got fucking stomped. Okay, we had a winter yokai, the undetectable Satori yokai, an ice fairy. She probably didn't contribute too much. I just noticed again, Letty and Chirno teaming up. Oh man, it's actually both of the, you know, the chili yokai, and then both of the Satori sisters, both of the Komeijis. So conscious and subconscious dominated, and then Remilia the vampire. Man, this time around, I guess vampires really do beat the werebeasts. Man, Kane got utterly screwed over. Utterly fucked. Wow. Chen and Mistia huddle for warmth. Aww. Mei Ling stays awake all night. I wonder if Mei Ling is a night owl. And so that's why, like, during the day when she's, like, watching over the gate to the Scarlet Devil Mansion, you know, she ends up dozing off here and there. And Kanako questions her sanity. I mean, I guess I would too if I survived, like, a whole barrage, a whole rampage of bloodthirsty squirrels. Okay. Day 3. Oku camouflages herself in the bushes. Somehow. Her wings are pretty big. She is a hell raven. And ravens, they tend to be pretty... they tend to be pretty girthy. Yugi receives medical supplies. Yuyuko practices her archery. Interesting. Hina practices her archery. Letty questions her sanity even more after choosing to team up with Chirno. Mei Ling attacks Mistia, but Koishi protects her, killing Mei Ling! Oh, our martial arts master is down. I have to question why Mistia decided to... Or no, wait. Mei Ling attacked first. Never mind. But Koishi... I mean, I guess, what else can I say, but that was unexpected. Kaguya hunts for other tributes. Just by herself. Komachi thinks about home. I mean, it's probably even more dreary than the arena. Let's be real. Chirno explores the arena. I swear to God if Chirno wins again. Chen, Nazrin, Alice, and Kanako track down and kill Byakuren! No! 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 EGD! Namu-san! That's a little shocking coming from Nazrin, though. Byakuren is Nazrin's superior. Like, you know, Byakuren was, you know, like, the leader of the Mioran Temple, and then Nazrin was, like, a patron. Like, a consistent resident, like, worker in the temple. Huh. Stuff to think about. It really makes you think. Remilia explores the arena. Satori cannot handle the circumstances and commits suicide. Oh shit. She couldn't stand having so few allies. But she didn't want to go the route of her sister. Wow. That's sad. 7 cannon shots heard in the distance. We have Yukari from District 5. Yukari, what were you thinking? Okay. Sanai from District 9. Oh my god, that hurts. Oh, that stings. Oh, poor Sanai. Flander from District 9. Or District 3. I read up. Kane, District 5. I'm not gonna say you deserved it, but you had it coming. That's what you get when you mess with frogs from the top down. Mei Ling, District 2, Byakuren, District 12, and Satori, District 10. Okay, so Sanai's dead, Byakuren's dead. I'm still rooting for Yugi. Yugi is still pulling through. I think I'm gonna start rooting for Nazrin. Just by association. Nazrin is kind of having a killer time of it. Nyuk, nyuk, nyuk. And then my third pick. I guess I would hold out hope for Koishi. I would have to say. Okay. Night 3. Kanako, Oku, and Chen discuss the games and what might happen in the morning. Hina is awoken by nightmares. Alice dies from hypothermia! Oh no, she got too close to Letty. Sad to see. Mistia climbs a tree to rest. She could probably just fly up there. Yuyuko falls into a pit and dies! So, like, I know Yuyuko isn't stupid. You know, she's not foolish, like, you know, like maybe Chirno or Oku. But I know she tends to feign like being kind of ditzy. Was this her just committing to the bit? Sorry, committing to the pit? She'll be back in the netherworld, no problem. Letty, Remilia, and Komachi discuss the games and what might happen in the morning. Koichi, Yugi, and Kaguya sleep in shifts. You have Koichi and Yugi working together. Chirno starts a fire. I don't know how, but okay. And Nazrin thinks about winning. Ooh, it's time for a feast. The cornucopia is replenished with food, supplies, weapons, and memoirs from the tribute's families. Nazrin decides not to go to the feast. It's too easy for her. Chirno decides not to go to the feast. Komachi convinces Chen to not kill her, only to kill her instead. Wow, Komachi! That was just a cat! Just a cat girl! God, you really are good at ferrying souls. Oku repeatedly stabs Remilia to death with sighs. Wow! I mean, I guess that kind of goes expected, like, Oku's kind of brutal at the end of the day, but, like, wow. Then again, well, not then again, I suppose, like, if she brought out a son, like, it would just incinerate Remilia instantly. Maybe she wanted more of a fight. Wow. So that's both of the Scarlet Sisters dead. Koichi kills Hina for her supplies! Holy shit. Hina! The misfortune finally turned on you. It was a turntable. It spun right around and against you. You couldn't spin out of your way out of death forever. But I suppose it's to be expected. You can never expect Koichi. Nobody expects the Spanish Koichi. Yugi decides not to go to the feast. She's strong enough by herself. Mistia decides not to go to the feast. Kaguya steals Kanako's memoirs. Wow, Kaguya, if anyone has to be petty, it has to be you, huh? Kanako's not going to be happy. And Letty decides not to go to the feast. Huh. Day 4. Kanako attacks Nazrin, but she manages to escape. Slippery little mouse. Good going, Nazrin. We're rooting for ya. Or I'm rooting for ya. Komachi chases Kaguya. Letty shoots a poisonous blow dart into Yuki's neck, slowly killing her. Oh no! Oh no, Yuki! You're an Oni! You're so strong. At least you got to cuddle with Nazrin before the end. Nazrin is still alive, just so you know. Wow, Letty, that... Dare I say, that was cold. Just leaving Yugi to a slow death. Wow. Oku goes fishing. So does Koichi. Chirno thinks about home. The home as in the igloo she built in the arena, or the igloo in Gensokyo? Mistia camouflages herself into the bushes. Incredibly. She's pink against, I'm assuming to be various browns and greens. Rather incredible. Okay, 6 cannon shots are heard in the distance. We have Alice from District 3, Yuyuko, District 4, Chen, District 3, Remilia, District 2, Hina, District 8, Yugi, District 10. God, for Yugi, that sucks. How many are left? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9. We are 9 tributes left. We're inching close to the end of the games, Lily pals. Let's proceed. Letty and Oku huddle for warmth. I mean, for Oku that's probably no problem. For Letty, I would imagine that's counterintuitive. Komachi severely slices Kanako with a sword! Wait. No, it was Kaguya. Kaguya stole the memoirs. Wow, Komachi! You just killed a god. I mean, then again, like, Kane killed a god. No problem. A stronger god at that. And the one and only frog god. That's brutal. Komachi is kind of surprising me. Mistia and Chirino tell stories about themselves to each other. Nazrin receives an explosive from an unknown sponsor. Use it wisely, Nazrin. I swear to God. I swear to Suwako. Kaguya overpowers Koishi, killing her! No, Koishi! How the fuck did Kaguya do that? Kaguya, you're holding on to some secrets. You got some secret techniques of some variety. Okay, that's 2 deaths in the night. God. We're inching ever closer. We're down to 7. Oh, Koishi, though, that hurts. Both of the Komeijis are down. Nazrin still lives, though. If I had to root for anyone now, it would be Nazrin, Komachi, and Letty. Kaguya? I hope Kaguya dies. And honestly, I hope Chirino dies, too. Mistia, I'm indifferent. It's just, I want Chirino to not win again. That'd be kind of anticlimactic for me. Chirino defeats Nazrin in a fight, but spares her life. Okay. You earned some respect points, Chirino. This time. Mistia and Letty split up to search for resources. Oku dies from thirst! Evaporated all the water. Wah, wah, wah. Or maybe she just forgot to drink. That's equally plausible. Komachi begs for Kaguya to kill her. She refuses, keeping Komachi alive. What is Kaguya's code here? Like, is her aim just to be as petty as possible while she's still alive? I guess it's not totally unexpected. She is royalty. Okay. 3 cannon shots heard in the distance. For Kanako, District 9, Koishi, District 11, and Oku from District 11. So let's see, that was... left off on 7-3. That leaves 4 tributes left, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 6. What? Maybe I miscounted. Like, it was down to 7 with Kanako and Koishi, and then Oku died. So now it's down to 6. Okay, that makes sense. Mistia and Chirno huddle for warmth. Cute, but Mistia, that's Chirno. Warmth is not in the ball game. Komachi forces Nazrin to kill Letty or Kaguya. She refuses to kill, so Komachi kills her instead! No! Nazrin! Oh, you made it so far! Oh, you were doing so good! Oh, Nazrin! Pour one out for the mouse. Komachi, damn! I think out of all the remainders, you know, now I'm more so hoping for Letty or Mistia. You know, more than Komachi. Kaguya can die, Chirno can die. Yeah, it's like, Komachi, you're losing my respect. You took a hit to respectability there. Okay. Day 6. We're almost at a week, and we're 5 tributes left. Mistia makes a wooden spear. Kaguya questions her sanity. Good. Komachi receives an explosive from an unknown sponsor. Oh god. Letty sprains her ankle while running away from Chirno. Ah, poor Letty. Chirno never gives her a break, in or out of the games. 1 cannon shot for Nazrin of District 11. Oh, I'm so sad. I'm so sad. No matter. There's still more game to go. Night 6. Kaguya quietly hums. Letty sees a fire but stays hidden. It's probably smart. Chirno falls into a pit and dies! Okay, Chirno's out of the running. Good. And Mistia tends to her wounds. Komachi cries herself to sleep. Good. You regret your decisions, Komachi. You regret killing the mouse. I can think of a different mouse that you could kill, and I'd be totally cool with, but you had to kill the wrong mouse. How dare you? That morning, Letty defeats Mistia in a fight, but spares her life. Interesting. Mistia is like a weaker yokai, probably weaker than Letty. Perhaps Letty isn't as cold as she lets on. Maybe our winter yokai is starting to defrost a little bit. Komachi and Kaguya hunt for other tributes. Oh god. The dreaded duo. Oh no. 1 cannon shot for Chirno in District 1. She's fine. That night, concluding a whole week of the GENSOKYO games, Kaguya cooks her food before putting her fire out. Mistia starts a fire. Letty thinks about winning. I'd be careful, Letty. You're getting close. Don't get cocky. Komachi dies from an infection! Hell yeah! Oh my god, we're down to 3. We are down to our top 3, Lily Pals. All that remains are Kaguya, Mistia, and Letty. If it's not Kaguya, I'll be happy. Day 8. Mistia collects fruit from a tree. Kaguya receives clean water from an unknown sponsor. I'm looking towards the audience seats for Erin. I know Erin is immortal. Bah. Letty is pricked by thorns while picking berries. Careful, Letty. It's a little ouchy. It might not be fatal, but it's ouchy. One cannon shot for Komachi of District 7. You got along pretty far. Fricking ferryman of Gensokyo's River Styx. I suppose she would be good at these games. Proceed. Letty receives fresh food from an unknown sponsor. Misty attempts to start a fire but is unsuccessful. Kaguya looks at the night sky. It's the 8th night. Our audience is waiting. There can only be one champion of the Gensokyo games. It has to be somebody. Letty is unable to convince Mistia to not kill her! Oh. I mean, you couldn't have gone after Kaguya. Kaguya's immortal. You could kill her and she'd be fine. Letty, there's no guarantee that Letty will come back. She's a yokai. Mistia. I mean, I still prefer you win over Kaguya, but... Kaguya accidentally detonates a landmine while trying to arm it. Our princess is dead. Very dead. Which means... It means, first, 2 cannon shots. For Letty from District 3, and Kaguya from District 6. Kaguya, you had it coming. Okay. And of course that means the champion is Mistia Lorelei from District 5. Congratulations, Mistia. Good job, Night Sparrow. I suppose you would take a chance now to promote your fried eel stand. You know, hopefully get some free publicity from these games. You know, at the expense of several of its most well-known inhabitants, but nevertheless, there are still miscellaneous humans and yokai that would love to partake in your business. Congratulations, sweet little sparrow. Sing to your heart's content. You are the survivor. Alright. Now we can take a look at our placements. So our top 3, Mistia, District 5, 2 kills. Kaguya, District 6 with 1 kill. Letty from District 3 with 2 kills. Komachi had 5 kills! Jesus Christ! Oh yeah, and Mistia, by the way, the gold medal with the Mockingjay, it'll be in the mail, like, within the coming business week. Just so you know. And then, like, a silver plaque to Kaguya, a bronze plaque to Letty. Komachi got 5 kills, Jesus Christ. Chirno got 2 kills. Nazrin only got 1 kill. Oku only got 1 kill. Koishi got 3. Not too shabby. Kanako got 2. Yuki didn't get any kills. That was kind of surprising. Hina got a couple kills. That made sense. Remilia only got 1 kill. And I think it was like a tag team affair. Yeah, because like they all went ham on Kane. God, poor teacher. Chen with 1 kill. Yuko in 14th place. Alice had 4 kills. Not bad. Satori got a couple of kills too. Byakuren, no kills. She upheld her own dignified honor as a Buddhist nun. Well done, Byakuren. Perhaps in your reincarnation, that will net you some some nice karma points. Mei Ling, no kills. Kane got a couple kills, including Suwako. I still haven't forgotten. I mean, you did get utterly stomped though, so there's that. Flander only got 1 kill. A little disappointing, but like, you know, everybody got to look in on the kill that Flander got, so, you know, they knew what she was capable of. No bodies. And then next up, Sanai, our beloved Wind Priestess. 1 kill, that's something, but 21st place. That's sad. Yukari. you essentially committed suicide for nothing. You made such an absolute dope of a move. Reimu's death was unfortunate. Rumia, no kills. We're getting into territories where kills are getting scarce. The Prism Rivers, no kills. Raysen at 26th, Yomu 27th, Marissa 28th, Yamami 29th, Aya in 30th, Aiding in 31st. That hurts. Patchley in 32nd, but still got 1 kill, at least. So there's that. There's some pride in that. Minariko, 33rd. Ran, 34th. Kogasa, 35th. Moko, 36th. Wriggle, 37th. Orin, 38th with 1 kill. Medicine, 39th. Sho, 40th. Tay at 41st. God, Tay. I expected more from you. Sakuya, 42nd. Probably died in the most pathetic way possible. Nitori, 43rd. Aiki, 44th. She died so early. Wow. Ichiden, 45th. Murasa, 46th. Suwako, you died so early. Not as early as Parsi, but like, wow, we couldn't see her true potential. The Froggies pray to you. You hear that, Lily Pals? Make a prayer to Suwako when we're all done with stream. And then Parsi. Parsi just... like, didn't Parsi just step on a landmine? Parsi didn't get to do nothing. But perhaps that's for the best. We would have had to watch her jealousy destroy her as she survived throughout the games. Okay. Those are all the placements. Here we have a log of the events. It took 9 days for the GENSOKYO games to take place. And Mystia turned out the surviving champion. Which means, Mystia Lorelei, she's free to live her life in leisure in the meantime. And despite being the champion, she will not take part in the next GENSOKYO games. We will get a different champion in Season 2. That said, yep, we have the overall statistics. And so, District 5, by default, of Mystia surviving, District 5 was the winner. Number 1 winner. Komachi got the most kills. God. I was kind of rooting for Komachi for a little while, but then she got a little too much. A little too much for my froggy blood. Anyhow, let me see. I anticipated the prison rivers dying, so I have a cassette tape right here to continue the typical Froggy music. Let's do it again! Alright. Yeah, no, that was the GENSOKYO games, Lily Pals. Oh, that was fun. I anticipated I would take up like the vast bulk of the stream, just doing introductions to all the contestants. I'll try to do better in the next games, which, in case it's not obvious, there's going to be a second games. A second GENSOKYO games. I don't know if I'm gonna get to it this Friday, but you know, it's definitely all set. All the characters are ready. The simulation is ready. It was quite the listen to. Yeah.
Well, I hope you all enjoyed.
I definitely would be open to doing more, like more Hunger Games sim streams with other characters, not just Toho. I did lots of fun. If you had so much fun, maybe you should volunteer. Anyhow, I got nothing much left. Mystia's the winner. Mystia is not really my most favorite Toho character, but I don't hate her. I'm from the capital, I don't play. Okay. Bougie RNG. Alright. Yeah, once again, I don't really know what I'll get up to next Friday. I feel like I'm in the mood, you know, for the moment, but perhaps not for Friday. It's the post-apocalypse day. I'm feeling inclinations of either Pokemon or more SLARPG. So maybe Pokemon, maybe SLARPG, maybe something else entirely. Otherwise, I got nothing else tonight, Lily Pals. Once again, I'm glad to have you all join me for this little romp in self-indulgence. Okay. That means without further ado, we should probably look for someone to raid. I feel like doing a different raid message this time. I'm not sure what. Think. Thinky think. Thinky thinky think. Can I use my... You know what? That would work. That would work. Would you be so kindly as to type it out for me, RNG? Pretty please. For all of us Lily Pals. With a froggy on top. I got for potential candidates for the raid.
Excellent. Thank you, thank you. So just copy and paste that, Lily Pals.
Alright. Trying. Looking, I'm perceiving. How about we raid the Alchemist? Owlchemist. She's playing, looks like the first Kingdom Hearts. It should be fun. Okay. I gotta hurry with the things, because I gotta pee. Okay. Raid the Alchemist. I'll see you all next Friday. Or actually, you know what? This week I actually have Thursday off again, so there's the potential for a gorilla stream. Maybe? Maybe we can have Pokemon and Slurpee. Ooh. That makes me... I am intrigued. I am fascinated. I am within interest. Well, no matter what happens, I will see you all next time, Lily Pals. Thank you all for hopping in. I love you all.
This much and more. More than my little froggy arms can reach. And dogs, you all have a good time zone. I really gotta pee now. Okay, oh yeah, Swimmy.